Hey team, welcome to week four. Week four is a bit of a lighter week. I like to call it a modified rest week. It's not a complete rest, but it's definitely lighter than the last 3 weeks. And there's a question that you might have, which is, when do I take rest? When do I keep pushing? And so I have 3 things to help you answer that question. And the first is to review your last 2 to 3 weeks. How have the last 2 to 3 weeks of your training gone? Have you got in, more than 80% of the workouts on your schedule? If so, you might be a little bit more fatigued and ready for a lighter week. Have you got in less than 50% of your workouts? Maybe things came up with work or family or just life in general, and you weren't able to get in all the workouts that you wanted to get in. And so your body's not feeling that fatigue. So you might be able to take this week 4 and actually ramp it up from what the schedule calls for. And I'll give you some ideas on how to do that, as well as some ideas on how to make it easier. Second tip is to listen to your body. Your body is a great indicator of when you can push and when you need rest. And so, initially people, when they hear that term, they're not really quite sure what that means. But, physically, are you feeling more fatigued than normal? What's your energy level like? And I will also say, just really quickly, as it just popped in my head, if you are feeling at any point, whether it's this week or later on in the training, extra fatigue, more fatigue than normal, fatigue in a way that just doesn't make sense to you, then check your iron levels. Because as we get into some heavier training, oftentimes our iron levels can drop. And if you have low iron levels, it'll show up and just in a way of really poor workouts, really tired workouts. And oftentimes it doesn't make sense. So whenever I have an athlete who feels like, I just shouldn't be this tired, but they are, a lot of times it's just with low iron levels. Okay. So anyway, back to listen to your body. What's your physical energy like? What's your physical fatigue like? Also along that, what's your mental energy? Your mental energy gives you, that's part of your body, your brain, right? So it gives you a clue to how you're feeling. If you're just not motivated to work out, then that's, mental tiredness, and you may do better with 1 or 2 or 3 days off from working out to get that fire back, because you need to have that passion and that desire to work out. Otherwise, you're just going through the motions, and it's probably not benefiting you overall in your overall life. Okay, so are you excited to train? That's a question, to help you out with that mental aspect. What is if you look back the last 2-3 weeks, what is the stress from your life/work, friends, colleagues, relationships? There's training stress, but then there's also stress in our overall life, and they combine. And if you're going through an extremely stressful period, that's going to affect your training as well. Okay, so if you're having an extremely stressful period unrelated to training, you may also need a lighter week. Okay, so then the third tip is to look ahead. Maybe you're feeling like, you don't really need a big rest week. Maybe you can just knock it down a little bit. That's why I say like a modified rest week. But looking ahead, what does the schedule look like next week and the week beyond that? And this is a tip not just for this training, but for your continued races. So, as you're training and you think, well, maybe I feel pretty good, so I'm going to keep pushing. But what does that next 1 to 2 weeks look like? Because if it's a really hard block, then you may be better off dialing it back this week so that you can be prepped for those key workouts if you have some key workouts coming up. In our schedule for Lavaman, next week has a key brick workout. On Saturday, it's a bike run workout, and there's a couple different distances. You can do a 3-mile bike ride, 3-mile run, 20-mile bike ride, followed by a 2-mile run. You can even go all the way up for people who are, really challenging themselves, higher level of fitness. 5-mile bike ride, 5-mile run, 35-mile bike ride, and 3-mile run to top it off. And you could even, if you look and you notice those two, there's a gap in the middle, and you could fill that in with a 4-mile run. Got it right this time. 4-mile run, 25, 30-mile bike ride, and then a 3-mile run tagged on the end of that. So that's next week for us in our training, and then there's the harder workouts during the week. So next week is a hard week. So just keep that in mind, because maybe this week is a good time for you to just kind of scale it back a little bit. Okay. If you are feeling strong, let's talk about some ways that you can edit this coming week. So you could take Tuesday, instead of it being a bike workout, you could make it a run workout. And a great main set to do would be 4 by 4 minutes at 10K pace with 2 minutes walk in between. So you could do that on Tuesday, because if you look at the schedule, I don't have any run workouts between Monday and Friday, and that's just to help you get some more rest. Running is the most fatiguing on our bodies. So if you are needing more of a break, you can swim and bike 2 days each, Monday through Thursday, and that won't leave you quite as tired as if you add in some run workouts. So, but if you're feeling great and you want to substitute that Tuesday bike for a run workout, again, you warm up your main set. You can do 4 times 4 minutes at 10K pace. So that should be, at that slightly uncomfortable pace, and take a 2-minute walk break in between each of those reps, and then cool down with a 10-15 minute cool down. Okay. The key workouts for this week are Saturday is a great chance for you to figure out what your bike race pace is. So the main set includes 2 reps of between 8 to 10 miles. You can choose. And ideally, you're going to find a place to bike that's relatively flat, maybe some slight uphills, but nothing like too hilly. And ideally, a stretch of road with no stop signs, stop lights, so that you can ride hard at race pace. And you may be thinking, well, I don't know what race pace feels like, but that's great. This is an opportunity to do that. So you're riding those, say, 8 miles, and you're pushing yourself, and you're asking yourself, can I maintain this for the entire race? And if the answer is no, then dial it back a little bit. If you think, I feel really good, then maybe can you lift the pace a little bit? Can you go into a slightly 1 gear harder and keep the cadence the same and work a little harder? If you're using heart rate or using power, looking at those numbers, can you increase those numbers? So the set includes 2 reps. The first one is at race pace. The second one, after you do a recovery in between, is going to be harder or faster than race pace. And so after you do the first one, you have an idea of your effort. Again, if you're using metrics and the course is the same, like average speed, or if you're using average heart rate or average power, things like that, then on the second one, you can lift the effort, you can lift the pace, and then you can compare that at the end of the workout. When you're done with the workout later on that night, look at the data, think back about how you felt, and ask yourself, are those paces I can sustain in the race, as well as can I get off and run well afterwards? And just starting to pay attention to that while you're working out how you feel will help you determine what that race pace effort is. Those of you guys who have done several races, you have a better idea of how hard you can push it, for 25 miles on the bike and still get off and run. So you have a little bit of an advantage. But these workouts, you can use them to start judging how hard you can push yourself in the race. And then on Sunday, there's a run. It's a run with hills. And so you're going to be going into this run from a little bit of tired legs from Saturday. So it's a good opportunity to practice running when you feel a little bit tired. Okay, so those are the key workouts for this week. But again, the main thing is to really pay attention to your body, decide if you need less rest or more rest. And if you need more rest, you can replace any of those workouts, and you can do this throughout the season, what I call active recovery workouts. So workouts where we get the blood flowing, because more increased blood flow helps repair tissues and helps in recovery. So aqua jogging is great. So the more blood flow we can get with the less sort of muscle pounding and damage. So aqua jogging is great. Cycling, where you keep the cadence nice and high and you keep the tension in your legs, the muscular resistance on the lower side, so you're spinning more. Swimming is always great. Swimming is a great way to increase blood flow. You don't have any of that traumatic pounding that you get when running. Running is sort of the least best way of recovery, just because you get so much pounding. Things like soft trails are a little bit better if you're going to run, or probably treadmill's even better than running outside if you're going for more of a recovery run, or aqua jogging is fantastic. So those are ways that you can take any workout when you're feeling like you need a little bit more recovery. Substitute an active recovery workout. Same with this week. If you're looking at any of the workouts and you think I need more recovery than that, then just plug in an active recovery workout and give yourself a little bit more recovery. You'll benefit for that later on. Okay, if you have any questions about that, hit me up with comments. Thanks.